today we are going to do the How I Read tag. And I wasn't tagged, I don't think, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I am here with Imogen, for those of you who haven't seen her on my channel yet and didn't subscribe to her ex channel.
Well, let's not go into that story.
Let's not go into that story. So I'm going to start with the first question. How do you find out about new books to read? So do you want to answer that first?
Through Freya!
Through me. I pretty much just tell her what to read.
Yeah.
And I go into Waterstones and see what it looks like. I also get recommendations from BookTube, Tumblr, the Edmonds of all fandoms. I'm not going to explain what that is. And Amazon, when you type in a book you really like, and then it goes, you may also like this. No, I do that quite a lot. So do you want to read out the next question?
I shall. How did you get into reading?
I have absolutely no clue. I watched this tag so many times. I'm like, oh, how did I get into reading? I don't know.
I think it was Miss Nicholson.
You know she told me to read.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Mine's literally, I came home one day and I could read. My mum was amazed.
Because they used to do that little reading scheme in primary school, and I never used to really get it. But then when I got a bit older and I could read non-picture books, then I preferred reading then, just because then when you can get your own image in your head, you kind of want to read on more because you've got that image.
I think it might have been Mrs. Savage in year 2 that got me into reading, because I remember I was in the second to top group in year 2 for guided read. The second to top group for guided reading, and I was helping Samantha read this Roald Dahl book, and then Mrs. Savage called me over to the top group, which were reading this book about tigers, and they accidentally pronounced tiger as tiger, and she put me into the top group, and that's when I thought, oh, maybe I'm quite good at reading, and yeah.
You always mention people that they'll never know.
I know, right? I do that all the time. And then I read Harry Potter, obviously, in year 5. I was 10 when I read Harry Potter. And
also Jacqueline Wilson.
I really don't like Jacqueline Wilson. I really don't like Jacqueline Wilson.
Oh.
So how has your taste in books changed as you got older? Has yours changed?
Well, I think it's just as you get older, you kind of want to read more sophisticated books. I think that's just it, really.
Mine hasn't changed that much. I'm still obsessed with fantasy, but it's not my favourite genre anymore. My favourite genres are sci-fi and historical fiction.
Oh yeah, I like sci-fi now. I always used to think it's all about spaceships, but it's not.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And
how often do you buy books?
I don't buy books as often as I thought I did. I used to buy books a lot more when I first started BookTube, but I don't buy them that often.
I think I probably buy 3 a year and then go to the library.
Yeah, she does a lot of library reading. I do very little library reading. I've done a lot more recently because I realised that my library have a lot of books from Mary Hooper, who I'm really enjoying at the moment.
But James, he got a library book out of the library, and one of the pages had too many crumbs on, so he couldn't read the writing, the text on the page. So he had to skip a page, and I'm thinking that page is probably vital. That's the problem about library
plot
books.
Twist. So, how did you get into booktubing? You're not a booktuber.
I'm not a booktuber.
Do you ever watch book videos?
I only watch yours.
She watches mine. She got into it
from you.
From me.
Yeah. Well,
She's going to have an answer to a lot of these questions. Because I'm kind of her influence when it comes to reading.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big reader.
And general life knowledge as well.
I got into booktubing. Well, I was a massive fan of YouTube. And I had a channel long before I started booktubing, and I wanted to be like Dan and Phil.
Everyone wants to be like Dan and Phil.
Everyone wants to be like Dan and Phil. And then one day I discovered Sana from...
Sana Swanner?
No, Sana from Books and Quills. And she made this video which was tips for new booktubers, and I was like, oh, I didn't know booktube was a thing. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe I could be a booktuber. And then I just subscribed to people like Catty-tastic, and
then you got a shout out, and that really
oh my god, I got a shout out from Obsessed Reader. Thank you. If you still watch my videos, you probably don't. And that got me, I thought I'd get 3 from that, and it got me to 66, and I was just like, whoa. And then pretty soon after that I got to 100. I was so happy about that, so thank you.
Shall I read the next question? So, how do you react if you don't like the end of a book?
How do you react?
I don't think I really do. I mean, I only reacted when I didn't like. I mean, I usually like the end of the book because it's just me. But in The Fault in Our Stars, I didn't like the ending because I just
that was just a sad ending.
Yeah.
It wasn't as if it was really terrible.
It depends what
like a Mockingjay.
It depends what sort of like book I'm reading. Because if it's like a sad one, then usually I'll cry. If it's a happy one, then usually I'll have like a celebrating party that I finished the book and everything's ended happily.
Often, if I read a book and I like the start of it, I would just like trick myself into thinking it's really good and pretend I like the ending. But then like a few weeks later, I was like, that book was awful. It ended really badly. And then me and my friends just start complaining about it together.
Is this the 7?
Yeah.
The 6.
Yeah, because Jake's been annoying Kate. How often do you take a sneaky look at the last page of a book? Do you do that?
I sometimes do, but then sometimes I'm like reading the book and I really want it to be a surprise. So probably not that often, really.
I used to do that all the time. All the time I used to do that. I used to read the last sentence more than the last page.
Yeah.
When I read the last sentence, it wouldn't make sense. So I read the last page, and then what happened with Deathly Hallows? I'm like, hey, I don't get this. So I read the whole chapter. I was like, oh, they all survive.
Because my mum reads books backwards. She reads from the end.
Oh.
Well, she did it with magazines, and then she really liked it in magazines, then she started doing it with books, but she found it didn't really work as well in a magazine as a book.
Yeah, and it's a terrible habit. I remember, because sometimes it spoils the whole book, and sometimes it just doesn't
Yeah,
spoil the whole book.
You can't like work out what it
Because
means.
it's sort of a bit of an epilogue. Yeah, an epilogue. I always get mixed up with epilogue and prologue.
There's a prologue at the start of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the next one?
This is the final question.
How many people are you going to tag and who are they?
So I'm going to tag 3 people. Are you going to tag anyone?
No.
And they are, I really don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Charlie Renhorse? I thought it was Charlie, but then you always pronounce it Charlie. Something like that. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Books and Biscuits and Marie2830. I will tag you all in the comments and maybe send you a message as well. So I don't know if any of you have already done this tag. You might have like all done it already and be like, well. But if you haven't done this tag, I'd really love it if you did. So, bye-bye.